Morning Exercises, October 2nd. I will hear what God the Lord will speak. Psalm 85:8. And surely, if He speaks, in whatever way He expresses Himself, it becomes us to hear, and to hear immediately. Let us not, therefore, be unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. There are 4 cases in which we should adopt this resolution. First, I will hear what God the Lord will speak as to doctrinal truth. If error were harmless, we should not be commanded to buy the truth and sell it not, to prove all things and to hold fast that which is good. It is of unspeakable importance to have proper sentiments on all religious subjects. But concerning all these subjects, different opinions prevail, and it is certain that all these opinions cannot be true. Hence persons are often perplexed, especially at the beginning of the Christian life. And what in this case are we to do? One cries, "Lo, here is Christ," and another, "Lo, there." Be it so. We are not left without witness. It would be sad and dangerous had we no rule to go by, no standard to which we could appeal. But we have such an advantage, and in things of moment it is plain and obvious, and it is accessible, it is in our possession. It is the testimony of God recorded in the Scriptures. I will therefore make no system of divinity drawn up by fallible creatures like myself, my oracle, but enter at once the temple of revelation and inquire there. I will call no man master upon earth. One is my master, even Christ, and all besides are only brethren. I need not ask what Arminius or Calvin speaks. They themselves are to be judged out of this book, and what they deliver is no farther binding upon me than as they can say, "Thus saith the Lord." To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. I will hear what God the Lord will speak. In this inspired volume I have the judgment of God Himself upon every subject with which it is necessary for me to be acquainted, and I will go to it not with a previous bias, but open to conviction, not to dictate, but to learn. I will not be influenced to embrace a doctrine because it is easy of comprehension, or to reject it because it is mysterious. It is infinitely reasonable to believe whatever God speaks, and my only concern is to ascertain what He has spoken. Secondly, I will hear what God the Lord will speak as to my movements in life. How ignorant and short-sighted are we! How liable to mistake! How incapable of distinguishing between appearances and realities, and of deciding what will be good or evil for us eventually. Surely we have erred and suffered enough already to convince us that the way of man is not in himself. How much depends on one wrong step as it regards our comfort, usefulness, and reputation. Even when the iniquity is pardoned, the natural consequences may long operate. They often cannot be remedied, and so repentance is quartered upon the offender all his days. How frequently has this been exemplified in irreligious marriages and changes of residence and business, through fancy, pride, or avarice, or even good but mistaken motives. A Christian, therefore, should take every step of importance, and what step may not be important, feeling a responsibility that makes him tremble and an anxiety that urges him to seek counsel from above. I will hear what God the Lord will speak, and regulate my marches by the cloud. But while I wait upon God, I must also wait for him, and integrity and uprightness are to preserve me while I do so. For he tells me that if a man sets up idols in his heart, and comes to inquire of him, he will answer him, but according to his idols. And this is done not only by a penal influence, but by a natural effect, for everything will be colored according to the passion through which I view it. If therefore I do not consult God sincerely, it would be better for me not to do it at all, for it can only dishonor him and delude myself. But if I go in simplicity and say, Lord, what wilt thou have me to do? I come within reach of the promise. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Thirdly, I will hear what God the Lord will speak as to the dispensations of his providence. Nothing is more trying than when an old divine calls a dumb affliction, so that when we put our ear to it, we can seem to hear nothing as to what it implies or intends. Varying the metaphor a little, Job was in such a state of ignorance and perplexity. Behold, I go forward, but he is not there, and backward, but I cannot perceive him. On the left hand, where he doth work, but I cannot behold him. He hideth himself on the right hand, that I cannot see him. In such a condition it affords relief to be able to add, but he knoweth the way that I take. Yet duty requires that we should have some knowledge of it ourselves. A natural man is only concerned to escape from trouble, but the Christian is anxious to have it sanctified and improved. He is commanded to hear the rod. While God chastens, he teaches. I must therefore be in a learning frame of mind. I must say unto God, Show me wherefore thou contendest with me. I will hear what, by this event, God the Lord will speak. Fourthly, I will hear what he will say also in answer to prayer. Here is a thing I fear generally disregarded. How many petitions are never thought of after they have been delivered? We knock at the door and go away, and never even look back to see whether it be opened. Can we expect that God will attend to those prayers which we contemn ourselves? Are such addresses anything better than a mockery of the Supreme Being? Let us therefore hear what he says in reply to our requests. Is it not pleasing to know that we are not forsaken nor forgotten of our best friend, to be able to rectify a gloomy conclusion, to reason from the past to the future, and like a beggar to derive encouragement from success? I said in my haste, I am cut off from before thine eyes. Nevertheless, thou heardest the voice of my supplications when I cried unto thee. I cried unto him with my mouth, and he was extolled with my tongue. If I regard iniquity in my heart, the Lord will not hear me. But verily God hath heard me. He hath attended to the voice of my prayer. Blessed be God, which hath not turned away my prayer, nor his mercy from me. I love the Lord, because he hath heard my voice and my supplications, because he hath inclined his ear unto me. Therefore will I call upon him as long as I live.